everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you the first Pick a Stick Challenge Mixed Media Art Journal page for 2021. We decided to continue this challenge over in the Art Joy of Sharing art community on Facebook because it's still relevant. It is randomly picked one-word prompts that you can use in your art journal, or you can use it for other projects just to give you a jumping off point and get a little bit of creativity flowing. This is a good thing to do for, daily practice, making a journal page quickly. And this helps with that. So we're continuing the challenge on through this year. This is the 6th year that we've done it. And it's just something that we post in the group in the morning, and you can watch us make it probably sometime during the live stream or one of our videos during the month. And yeah, this was done during the live stream today. Art Joy of Sharing live stream channel is the channel that Peg and I do our live streaming together each Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern time, and whatever time that is where you live. So you can always come and watch us live as we do these different things on our channel. But of course, this is a speed version. It is sped up 4 times fast and edited with a voiceover, which is how I make my videos for my own personal channel. So thank you for joining me. So for the Pick a Stick Challenge, there are prompts and there are colors, and the colors that Peg picked this month are the colors of the year from the Pantone. They always put out colors every year. Usually, it used to be just a color, and now it's 2 colors. And the colors this year are Illuminating, which is a yellow color, and Ultimate Gray, which is obviously a neutral gray color. So I decided to start my page by using some different papers and making a collage background. The first papers I put on had some botanical prints on them because one of the prompts, the second prompt, is nature, and so I figured I'd use some nature ones. And then there's some text tissue paper. There is some of my own handwriting on tissue paper. There is some drawings on text weight paper. There's even a little bit of gray colored magazine page that I had. Just little bits and pieces, and I'm gluing them down using a Yoo-Hoo blue glue stick, which is blue when it goes on and dries clear. I've found over the last year that I can use this glue stick in my journal, and it will work great with collage. I use matte medium in other applications that are going to be more, something that's going to hang on the wall or whatever because it's more permanent. This glue stick works great in the journals just because the book's going to get closed. It's hardly ever going to get opened. Very, very rarely will it get opened, and everything glues down fine. I'm also using a moist baby wipe and smoothing out the paper as I go, and that kind of helps calm down the fibers of the paper too and get them to stick a little bit better. So I'm getting everything stuck down. I think it looks pretty good. It's not exactly gray, it's more black and white, but I am going to use some finger painting to kind of integrate everything and to put a little bit more gray on there, calm down some of that really dark black. So I put some medium gray paint on my scratch paper palette as well as a little bit of white gesso, and I put some cream on my hands, some Art Guard cream on my hands before I finger paint, and just adding that mixed gray tones here and there. When you mix 2 colors together rather than using a straight color, you're getting more variation because each time you mix it, it's not exactly the same. So that looks a little bit better than just using that mid gray that I put down. So I'm kind of taking off the edges of things. If it's too square, too grid-like, I'm also calming it down if it's too dark, just to make my background appear more like a background and less like a in-your-face grid, So that's why I did that. So I'm going to put that aside to dry. The first prompt on this prompt list, besides the colors, is Octagon. So after looking through my stencils, my stamps, my uh, die dies from making die cuts, I realized I don't have anything that's an octagon. I've got lots of hexagons, which have 6 sides, but not any octagons. So I had to find out how to make an octagon piece of paper. And so that's what I'm doing here. You fold it in half, um, the short way, and then you fold it in half the diagonal way. Then you pinch it together like a star, and then you fold the little flaps in to make it a kite shape, and then you just cut that top part off. There are videos on YouTube if you want to watch this slowly, but that's how you make that's one way of many that you could make an octagon piece of paper. So I did that with a gel print that had some yellow on it, because now remember we've got the gray and the yellow, so that's the color combo for this month, which actually showed up in our mood board as well, which is another challenge over in our art community and Art Joy of Sharing. And that was completely independently done. It just happened that Peg made the Pick a Stick challenge, I made the mood board, and we both used the colors of the year without consulting each other or seeing what each other were doing. So I guess we're in sync in that way. So I also had this piece of paper that was torn off some packaging, and it was a pretty yellow color, so I cut that in an octagon. Then this piece of paper has some gel prints on it that I made using citrus fruit, lemon and orange and grapefruit, using those to make marks on my gel plate. If you're interested in watching that, I'll try to find it and put in the iCard. If you look to the right hand side of the screen up at the top and hover over that, there'll be a little eye, a little information, and you can click on that. You can watch that video where I made that print. Then this other print that I have was when I was playing around with my 4-inch and 2.5-inch round gel plates, and I cut a piece of yellow off of that. And then this one is a gel print that is from a stencil, and there's a kind of oval shaped pattern on there, which is kind of hard to see in the video, but you'll see it at the close-ups at the end. And I cut that out and glued that down. That's a piece of deli paper gel print. So the second prompt is nature on this prompt list. So these are going to be flowers. Now I'm cutting the centers out, and I use another gel print that I have there. Actually, that's just a stenciled piece of paper. I'm cutting some circles out of that. Some of that free writing, handwriting on tissue paper, I cut some of those out into oval shapes to make the centers of the flowers. And I'm just doing my nature. I really am totally ready for the flowers to come back in the warm weather. It's big cold for me, and I even have a little space heater in my studio to warm it up. It's just not my favorite. I like to be warm. I would just prefer warm over anything else. So, yeah, flower time, people, flower time. So the next prompt was brush. And you know, that could have been a really fun one, but I just went with a really boring interpretation of brush. I decided to use a paintbrush. I'm in my studio. You know, you could use a hairbrush to make marks on your gel plate or on your paper. You could use a toothbrush to make splatters. I mean, you could use a basting brush to make interesting wood grain patterns on your paper. You know, there's so many options with these one word prompts. There's just so many options. But I decided to use a boring old paintbrush. So I made a horizon line for my garden here, and I decided to make this my garden at night. So I'm painting black over some of my background and going around the flowers just above that horizon line, and then the bottom collage section will be the ground and the leaves and the things that would also be in your garden. So that's what I'm doing with just some plain old black paint and a plain old boring paintbrush. Just, yeah, boring, but hey, there could have been so many more options on that one, huh? So then, of course, I had to dry that. And I also wanted to put a little bit of a frame around the bottom part by using an ink pad to just rub the ink along the edge. That's a permanent ink pad a memento ink pad. So I like to have everything framed in with a little bit of ink or paint or something. And it makes me happy. The next prompt was staple, and I didn't want to use like a metal staple on my page. I don't like that type of stuff in my journal. So I instead decided to interpret that prompt staple as a staple of something that I use. Like in your kitchen, your staples are flour, sugar, eggs, milk, bread, those type of things are staples, right? Well, the same can be applied in your art studio. Things that you use all the time, things that you are obsessed with using. And lately, probably in the last 6 months, maybe, I'm obsessed with this Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. I love this pen. I use it all the time. And so I decided it was a staple of my work, and I'm going ahead and drawing and highlighting and shadowing my stems and leaves for my flowers. Of course, you can't have flowers without stems and leaves because that's how they grow. So at first I drew around a little section of one of the collage pieces that already had a stem and leaf on it, and then the rest of them I drew freehand with my pocket brush, and then I am using my water tank brush to blend it out before it dries completely. This is India ink inside this little pocket brush, and it's permanent when it's dry, but since this is, it's really not a porous surface, it's not absorbing it very quickly, I have time to go ahead and blend that out with the water brush. If I'm quick, it will dry fairly quickly, but I do have a little bit of time. So that's what I'm doing with my staple Pentel pocket brush. It's definitely a staple in my studio. I just wish that they had that same brush in a bunch of other colors because it just comes in black in this small little brush. They do have another water soluble one that comes in other colors, and I have a gray and a brown in that. But this one, I just love it, and I think they should come out with more colors. More pocket brushes. Come on, Pentel. I don't know why it's called that, but it has it has cartridges in it that you can take in and out, so it's nicer than dipping into a vat of ink like you could do. So then the next one was erase. And I thought to myself, what could you erase? And I decided that you could erase graphite, which is what's inside a pencil, right? So I grabbed some of my big fat graphite pencil crayon thing, and I put some graphite around the center of that flower. And then I used it's a tiny eraser. It's like an eraser pen with a really fine eraser on it. And I erased back to make marks in the graphite. I used that little eraser to erase back and make marks. So that was my erase. And then I decided to work a little bit on some other things. I got out a yellow Posca acrylic paint marker and started to add some marks with that, just some fun marks here and there, and also touching up a couple places where my black paint went in places I didn't want it to because I didn't have that much control with my brush. So I hope you guys are enjoying this, and if you are, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notification bells, and of course you can share this on Pinterest or Facebook. Also, you can come over and watch this in real time recorded over on the Art Joy of Sharing live stream channel. I will put a link to that live stream in the description box below the video if you'd like to watch it in slow-mo. Can do that. And of course, all those things help my channel by helping other people find me. When you tell YouTube that I made something that you like by liking it or commenting or subscribing, then that helps them tell other people, hey, this person's making something fun, you should come over and come to this channel. So that is why I always nag you guys to do those things, but it really is important to me and my channel and helping me grow if you can reward my free content by doing those types of things. So I also used a white Posca pen to kind of touch up and highlight here and there. And then I also drew some curls. The number 6 prompt was curl. So I drew some little curlies up at the top and around one of the centers I drew some curly lines with that white Posca pen. So that was the last prompt. One of the wildcards was text, so I decided to put a quote on there, and I got it out of my Tim Holtz sticker sayings. That is the one that's kind of snarky, and I stuck that on there and I was done. So here's your close-ups. Thanks. Bye-bye.